Good morning and welcome to Sunrise with Lovelight. There's a lot of rain coming down. I'm not sure the sun is going to be visible, but we're going to be that sunrise today. Good morning and welcome to Sunrise with Lovelight. We're here with Dr. Brian Ceccarelli, and I've been thinking about speaking with you, and one word that comes to mind is respect. I respect everything that you're doing, and you're a retired, successful orthopedic surgeon. You started this organization called It's Time To, and I think it's so important because in regards to mental health with kids these days in junior high and high school, even at the very earliest ages, a lot of things have been changing due to whether it's technology or whatnot. And I love what you're doing, and I want everyone to hear and see and what you're doing, and I was hoping you could explain what you're doing to us.
Sure. So the It's Time To organization really is all about promoting acceptance, getting young people to judge less, to stop the bullying in school, be supportive of one another. And with that, I think goes along mental health. And unfortunately, teen suicide has gone up every year since 2007. And the numbers of young people that take their lives every year is really astonishing. One of the statistics I use when I give my presentation is over the last 20 years, 147 students have lost their lives in school shootings. And no student should ever go to school worried about whether they're going to be shot at school. Obviously, that's a problem.
Right.
And we've had walkouts, we've had active shooter drills, we have legislation, we have marches on Washington, we have all kind of things to try to address that. And I applaud all those efforts. Last year alone, 5,200 young people between the ages of 10 and 24 took their lives. And that number is just astonishing. And when I go into school and I hear stories that young people tell me, it makes me realize that something needs to change because it's getting worse. In fact, the CDC reported an alarming stat that said in the last 10 years, the rate of suicide in young people between the ages of 10 and 14 has tripled. I can't imagine a 10-year-old that thinks their life isn't worth living.
No.
So the whole purpose of the It's Time To organization is to go into schools, tell stories to kids to make them understand that they're not alone in what they're going through, empower them to speak up, say it's okay to talk about something if you're having a problem, talk to your counselor, your teacher, approach it with your parents, say, hey, I need help, that's okay, and erase the stigma that goes along with mental health issues.
I think that's the biggest thing is people who are struggling need to realize that it's okay, and I'm so glad you said that because I think a lot of people feel like they need to hide their feelings
Sure.
and try and tough it out when it's okay to get help.
Yeah.
And so it's being very well received. I see your videos, I see the letters that you are getting from these students. So
Sure.
what's been the most impactful thing that maybe a student has reached out to you and said? Or,
Well, you know, we've had so many positive responses. Perhaps the one that impacted me the most was the evening of where I'd just given a presentation. A young lady reached out and said, you threw me a lifeline. And that made me feel that this young girl was on the verge of taking her own life. And just the presentation gave her enough courage to say, I'm going to go speak to my counselor. And after I saw that email, I literally called her counselor principal that night. The next morning they approached her and she was very willing to talk about what she was going through. And I'll be honest, Josh, that, you know, we think that certain schools are insulated from this problem, but this problem doesn't discriminate. It doesn't just target a certain socioeconomic group, it doesn't target a certain race, it doesn't target a certain gender. All these young people, or the majority of them, are being affected in some way. social media doesn't help. And another alarming stat to me is that kids that spend more than 2 hours in front of a screen, whether that be an iPhone, whether it be a game console, their rate of anxiety and depression and mental health issues soars dramatically. And yet when I ask these kids, hey, knowing that, would you still do it? They're willing to take that chance.
Wow.
And when I ask them, hey, if you would spend 2 hours in front of the phone and develop diabetes, would you do that? Of course not. If you spent 2 hours in front of a phone and you knew you were going to get cancer, would you do that? Of course not. So even though they're crying out for help with mental health issues, they're part of the problem, and I don't think they recognize the ramifications of what they're doing on the phone and in front of Game Boys or other consoles, I should say.
Yeah, yeah. So, with parents who are listening, and parents or anyone, friends, family are listening who might be concerned for their child or their friend or whatnot, do you have any advice, small or big, to help them mend or help them at least get it out in the open where it can be discussed and they can move forward and improve upon it?
And that's a great question. We had a student forum actually where we had, I think, 12 students from different schools sitting around talking about issues affecting them. And one of the biggest issues that somebody brought up was that students or young people are afraid to approach their parents because they don't want to disappoint them. To them, they're the most important person in their life, and they think, geez, if I tell them I'm having a problem, I'm going to disappoint them. Or I don't want to weigh them down with my problems. They have enough things going on in their life. So I think it's very important for the parents to approach their kids on a regular basis and say, hey, let's just sit and talk. Are you okay? Is everything okay with school? Tell me about your day. Is there anything bothering you that I should know about? And then perhaps the most important piece of information that I got out of that forum is kids aren't asking you to solve their problem. They really aren't. I think the best piece of advice that I could give you is to say, hey, I'm here for you. How can I help? And let students then elaborate on what they think you can do as a parent to help them through the problem they're going through. And, one kid said, hey, the worst thing you can do as a parent is to sit down and go, we're not leaving until you tell me everything. Maybe a student just wants to tell you this much today.
Yeah.
That's okay. At least let them start the dialogue. And you being there as a parent for them is probably the most important thing. So I would say start the conversation, listen more than talk, and then say, how can I help you? Those three things, I think, are really important to know.
That's really great advice, and I'm glad you could shed some light on that. I think one of the biggest things that I'm trying to wrap a summary up in my mind, but if anyone is struggling with mental health, I think that one of the biggest things is just open up and open yourself up to receiving help. Is there anything, if someone's watching at home, what can they do to help this time too?
Well, I think the biggest thing that I would like to see people do is just get involved in your own family, improve your own home life. Don't fight with your kids. Make your kids know that this is a safe place we can talk about things. That's helping the movement, if you will. And I like to think that just starting there, maybe taking that out into your group of friends to say, hey, look, we're going to talk now. We're going to be nice to each other. Same thing that you're doing with LovelighT and spreading this message of kindness and acceptance, and I think that's what I'm trying to do.
Sure.
We've recently, we're in the process of becoming a 501c3, and I've been dealing with the IRS and trying to get that paperwork squared away, and he assured me that by the first of the year we're going to have that status.
Yeah.
So if people want to donate monetarily, that's great, because these presentations that I do them for free.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, I don't ask any
Respect
school.
this guy even more. I had no idea that you do this for free. That's
Well, I don't want any school not to be able to do it because they don't have the funds.
Yeah.
So, we've spoken to over 18,000 students this year. We're on schedule to speak to probably 5,000 more before the end of February. And I just want to keep getting out there and hope that this message takes hold. Maybe collaborate with LovelighT and make it even bigger.
We would love that.
Because it's not just students.
Yeah.
We're all going through something.
You're
right?
your clothing line.
Yeah.
That's still up and running and good.
It is. We're probably going to alter it in a way where we're going to come up with one message. We're going to have one clothing line that says one thing that we want to get across, and it maybe change the culture.
Okay.
Because I think we need to change the culture.
I have one of those sweatshirts. That's why I was asking, because they're so comfortable. I wear them to sleep in. I wear them to work out in, and they're great.
Wear them out in the community. Make more people aware of what we're trying to do.
I will. Hey, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Everyone
Peace.
get out there and shed some love light. Check out It's Time Too.